健太くん人形？
Hey, welcome back, everyone.
ああ、そりゃあレナのツボだわな。
レナがサトコやリカちゃんをお持ち帰りしたくなるのはわかる。だが健太くん人形だけは理解できないぞ。あんなメガネ親父のどこがいいんだ。
Hey, he's insulting the KFC.
そりゃあレナに直接聞けばいいじゃん。どうせだって会員だもんしか言わないだろうけどさ。
レナはよくあそこ工事現場のとこへ宝探しに行くのか？
ちょくちょく見に行くって言ってましたです。
しかし年頃の女の子がゴミ漁りね。
レナが楽しいならいいんだと思いますです。
あそこはなんだよ、ダムの工事現場だったのか？
It had been bugging me since yesterday, like an itch I couldn't scratch.
何年か前に中止になっちゃったけどね。
What was cancelled?
みんなで力を合わせて戦いましたです。
The dam construction? Hearing an ominous word like fought come from Rika-chan's mouth startled me.
そうそう。何しろとんでもない話だったんだよ。ひなみ沢が丸ごとダム湖に沈むことに一方的になってさ。
So I'm only able to be here because the protest succeeded.
ごめんねごめんね。待たせちゃったかな。申し訳ありませんわねケイチさん。お化粧直しに時間をかけちゃいまして。
What is she talking about?
サトコ、
Satoko.
便所には溜めてから行け。一気に出せて楽で早いぞ。
花も恥じらう乙女になんて口の利き方。
Who is she calling a maiden? If Satoko really was a maiden, she wouldn't have reacted like that. The usual hijinks ensued.
さてと、今日は快速に乗っ取り部員の諸君に是非を問いたい。彼前原圭一君を新たな部員として我らの部活動に加えたいのだがいかがだろうか。
レナは異議なし。貧民風情が私の相手を務められるかしら。僕もサトコも賛成しますですよ。
The three that Mion had queried voiced their approval.
全会一致。おめでとう前原圭一君。君に栄えある我が部への入部試験を許可する。
順を追って説明しろ。俺はまだ入るとは言ってないぞ。何の部活だ？
我が部はだな、複雑化する社会に対応するため活動ごとに提案されるさまざまな条件下、時には準教、あるいは逆境からいかにして。
レナは弱いからいじめないでほしいな。仲良くやろうね。レナさんは甘えてますわ。弱い者は食い尽くされるのが世の常なのでございますわよ。
This was starting to sound a bit sketchy. So what kind of club was it?
つまりみんなでゲームして遊ぶ部活なのです。
Okay. Rika-chan was the only one to answer my question with a pertinent response. So basically, this club put Mion's hobby of collecting games to use. by playing the various games that Mion had hoarded every day. It seemed that depending on the day, there were prizes for the winner or a penalty for the person who finished it in last place.
先に断っとくけど、ままごと遊びみたいなレベルじゃないからね。一生いっぱいに命がかかってるくらい本気でかかった方がいいよ。
楽しくやれればいいじゃないか。そう凄むなよ。
He's like, what's wrong with just having fun? She wants to turn it into some kind of life and death situation.
快速第一条、狙うのは1位のみ。遊びだからなんていういい加減なプレーは許さない。
快速第2条、そのためにはあらゆる努力をすることが義務付けられておりますのよ。
The way Satoko said it, it sounded like she was saying, use any means necessary.
もちろん僕も頑張りますです。レナも弱いけどね、精一杯頑張ってるの。
Why does she keep saying she's pretty weak? Like it's gonna require strength or something. I knew what they were trying to say. In a game where everybody is aiming for the top, it's rather unsportsmanlike to play just for fun.
よし、俺も本気でやってやるぜ。
With that, I was finally ready for the rite of initiation, my baptism into the club.
ケイちゃんに一応忠告ね。レナも結構えげつないからね。
Oh, so she was trying to hustle us. She's actually really good. This initiation looks like it's going to be rough. Mion began fishing around in the school lockers in the back of the room. They have games here at school? Well, it's club equipment, so I guess that's fine.
難しいゲームはケイちゃんだけに不利だからね。今日は誰にでもわかるゲームにしよう。スタンダードにトランプのジジ抜きはどう？
Old Bachelor. Is that like Old Maid?
よし、受けてやるぜ。
やっぱり罰ゲームがないと燃えないよね。今回はビリに顔面落書きの刑。どう？
油性じゃないよね。油性じゃないよね。
Permanent. She wants to draw on our faces with permanent marker.
上等でございますわ。
Satsuko cheered the idea on. She didn't even flinch at the thought of such a severe penalty. It seemed like she was raring to go. If it's gonna be like this, then I can't lose either.
じゃあカード切ってみんなに配るね。
Old Bachelor is pretty much the same as Old Maid. The only difference is there's no Joker. In its place, one card is pulled out at the start, meaning there will be one card without a match left over at the end. You don't know which card will end up being the Joker. I think it's a pretty thrilling game.
じゃあ1枚抜くね。
I mean, I don't know how to play Old Maid, so I did once when I was younger, but Mion took out one card and left it face down on the table. Everybody stared at the card instantly.
ま、終盤になればおのずとわかるし、最初はどうしようもないよな。
but the rest of them were very serious. They didn't seem as relaxed as I was. They compared their cards to the face down one, all the while gauging each other's reactions. It was as if they could see the face down card. They could see what the face down card was. No, it couldn't be.
このトランプ結構傷物だろ。まさかみんなにはその傷でそこに伏せたカードが分かってる？
Ooh, that's dirty.
快速第2条ですわ。圭一さんも勝つために最善の努力をなさいませ。いくつかのカードは特徴的だから圭一君にもすぐ覚えられるよ。
She said that so matter-of-factly.
上等だぜ。この程度でハンデになると思うなよ。
I lashed out angrily, but it was rather obvious I was at a disadvantage. After all, they'd gone so far as to memorize the wear and tear for each individual card. This wasn't a simple game of Old Bachelor. If this was a test, then they were playing with the answer sheet in front of them. Bring it. I'll take advantage of your carelessness and beat you at your own game. That baseless confidence would soon be crushed.
ケイちゃんの手札を右から言うぜ。
Oh, don't you do that, Mion.
3、4、9、ジャック、クイーン。
ぐわ
ちなみにジジはダイヤの J なのです。
ーうわ
どうカードを入れ替えたって見え見えですわ。上がりですな。
ーうわ
I thought I was prepared, but for it to be this brutal, just overwhelming.
鬼だ。こいつらは鬼だ。
レナは鬼じゃないよな。
ごめんね圭一君。こっちがハートの3だよね。上がり。
Rena, why?
うわ
Not you too. Not even a hint of mercy. Rena. Even Rika-chan. These club activities weren't to be trifled with. As alumnus of this club, would definitely survive in the cruelest of situations. If our entire class had self-detonating collars strapped to their necks and were dropped into a death match on a deserted island, these guys would probably take to it like fish in water. I can already picture their joy as they hunt down each of their classmates.
ポイントは減点制ね。着順がそのままマイナス点。トータルで一番少ない人が優勝。
では圭一はビリなので5です。
There's already a 5 marked down on my scoreboard.
やっぱりさ、綺麗なトランプでやらないと圭一君に不公平だよ。
Thank you, Rena.
いいのいいの。ケイちゃんだって男だし。
Wow.
これくらいの逆境は跳ね返せるよね。
貧民風情は逃げ帰って涙で枕を濡らすのがお似合いでございますことよ。
A petite hand laid itself on top of my head, which was trembling from uncontainable frustration. It was Rika-chan's.
ファイトオーです。
She's saying fight as she's helping And she's cheating with them. She's like, fight. Thanks to Rika-chan's words of encouragement, I was able to calm down. You need to be calm, especially when you're cornered. That's the power I could muster during this crisis. Think clearly. Keiichi Maebara. Take your time and look at the cards carefully. It's just as Rena said. Several of the cards have their own distinct markings, making them stand out. Memorizing them should be pretty simple. Think about what you can do in this situation. Try everything in your power to improve the chances of victory.
うわ、うまいよケイチくん。その調子。
I cover the uniquely marked cards with my hands on the other side. I cover the uniquely marked cards with my hands or other cards, arranging them in such a way that they couldn't be seen.
角が割れているのは5だったはずです。
Oh,
上がりましたです。
I couldn't let any of those precious hints slip me by. All information is a weapon. Then it was my turn. Satsuko fanned out her cards for me.
欲しいのは7なんだが、これかな。
さてどうかしら。
That means it is. We got her.
聞いてみないとわかりませんことよ。
She's bluffing. There was a bit of dismay in her expression. Like she doesn't want it taken. That kind of expression. I won't let that monetary lapse slip me by.
見えた。これだ。
Monetary. Got it. 7 of spades. A cheer of ooh rang out.
なんですって7は一番わかりにくいはずですのに。
It wasn't from memorizing the markings. Those slight changes in their expressions was as I was selecting a card were enough.
ほらケイちゃん隠さない。この傷が確かダイヤの2だったよね。
So he's gauging their expressions as he's hovering over the cards to pick.
あれ
She was startled by her own misread. Of course, everyone else was too.
ああ、みーちゃんがカード間違えるなんて珍しいね。
違うケイちゃんあんたまさか
They told them apart by different marks. That mark was a nail scratch. So I put a new one on it.
ダイヤの2を偽装したというですの？味な真似をするでございますわ。ケイチ、一矢報いましたです。やったねケイチくん。大戦線だよ。
Having defeated the Forerunner Mion, my brilliant battle left me ecstatic. But by total points, it was already set in stone that Mion would win and I would finish last. I laughed hotly, selecting the tone of my voice carefully to get on Mion's nerves.
まあビリは確定だけどさ、最後にミオンから1本取れたから大満足かな。
That should be the proverbial slap in the face to Mion, who was at the top already, an ensured victory.
この回仮にケイちゃんが1着になってもトータルビリが確定するんだけど嫌でしょ。
当たり前だ。
一騎打ちしようよ。ワンチャンス。勝てたらケイちゃん1位で私ビリの大逆転なんてどう？乗るでしょ。
She is quite the gambler. She likes games. She fell for it. A chance for an upset that wouldn't be possible without goading her into it.
ワンチャンスだと？ルールを説明しろ。
Mion discarded 2 cards from her hand and replaced one with a Joker card that was on the table, then shuffled the resulting hand behind her back.
右手のカードと左手のカードどっちがジョーカーか当てたらケイちゃんの勝ち。
今後ろに回した時ジョーカーを抜いたってことはないだろうな。
ケイちゃんが負けたら反対の手のカードも公開するよ。それなら OK でしょ。
The other 3 gulped nervously at this unexpected turn of events.
よし乗ってやる。
Mion grasped 1 card in each hand and thrust them out at me. First, I needed to inspect them closely. The card on the right had no distinguishing marks. I couldn't tell which one it was.
どっちだろう。ケイチ君、慎重にね。
ああもちろんだぜ。逆転の大チャンスだ。
Looking closely at the card on the left, I saw a little wear. It wasn't one I hadn't seen before.
あのカードは。
I didn't let that bit from Satsuko slip by me. Mion clucked her tongue. I didn't realize the mark on the left card from the small number that I had memorized. I didn't recognize the mark on the left from the card from the small number that I had memorized. I didn't know what the left card was, but I could tell from Satoko's reaction that the card had already appeared during the game. I didn't know what the left card was, but I could tell from Satoko's reaction that the card had already appeared during the game. Since it had already appeared before, it meant that it definitely wasn't the Joker.
ケイちゃんは右のカードを疑ってる。じゃあ右にする？右？
The left card definitely wasn't the Joker. If I could trust that theory, then I should have been able to declare that the card to the right was the Joker. Even without Mion's taunting, the one on the right was the most suspicious. But wasn't it a bit too rash to decide based solely on Satoko's reaction? More carefully. Ah, I remember now. That mark. The left card, no doubt about it. The 7 of clubs.
うん。
So,
きっとクローバーの7だね。
I've won. The card on the left was a 7 of clubs. So that means the card on the right was the Joker. And then, just before my hand touched the right card, I froze.
さすがミオンだよ。
There was a wave of murmurs among the onlookers at my sudden halt. Right before I had confirmed the right card was the Joker.
ケイチさんは何を言ってるのでございましょう。
They think they're slick.
左 C です。
へえ。ケイちゃんはどうして右がジョーカーじゃないって確信できるの？
Mion let loose an unexpected question. Everyone else was baffled.
右のカードが何かは俺にもわからないさ。だが左のカードがクローバーの7だってことだけはわかる。
じゃあ残る右のカードがジョーカーなのじゃありませんこと？
Satoko's kind of giving it away.
必ず左右どっちかがジョーカーという約束でしょ？
ああ、左右のどっちかにジョーカーがあるのは本当だろうな。
圭一は勘がいいです。リコちゃん、それってどういう？
つまりさ、クローバーの7はさっき俺がサトコのスペードの7と合わせて捨てたカードなんだよ。
Everyone's attention snapped to the discard pile at the same time. The truth of the matter couldn't be discerned from that sloppy pile.
つまりミオンは捨て札を1枚拾って左のカードに重ねている。つまり
そうか、わかった。
Mion plays dirty.
左のカードをクローバーの7に見せかけているんだね。
This was the first time since the start of the match that a shadow ran across Mion's expression, and I didn't let that slip by. Then, with a grand flourish, I declared it loudly.
ジョーカーは左手だ。
It was an intense moment. That 1 second felt like an eternity for everyone there. Breaking that silence, the first one to speak was Mion.
初代部長として私も様々なプレイングを見てきたけど、ケイちゃん、あんたはベストだよ。ベストオブザベストオブザベスト。
That was probably the greatest compliment Mion could give. Mion accepted her defeat, dropping the cards from both hands. My comeback victory. Rika-chan placed her hand on my head and began petting it, congratulating me on my victory.
リコちゃんか？
Rena and Satsuko gaped at us, as if they had seen a ghost.
なんだよレナ、別に俺はインチキしてないだろ。先生堂々と。
リカは慰めるときにしか頭を撫でませんの。
Wait, what? Huh? What's the meaning of this? At that moment, Rena let out a small shriek.
圭一君、こんなことって。
ケイちゃんならさ、ここまで読んでくれると思ってたよ。
Oh no, don't tell me. Everyone froze. No, it was just me.
賭けだった。ケイちゃんがおてんばさんの早とちりだったなら、負けてたのは私だった。
It was the answer everyone was certain about. Mion picked up the card from the losing hand.
ケイちゃんはさ、この負けを誇っていいよ。
She turned it around. That was the card that proclaimed the victor of this duel. The card under the 7 of clubs. Unbelievable. It was the 2 of diamonds. It was a setup behind the setup. If I'd just picked the right one without reading so deeply into it.
部長園崎美音の名において前原圭一あんたの我が部への入部を許可する。
I slumped to my knees, dazed. Everybody let out a round of applause for the excellent effort I gave despite my defeat.
これにて決着。本日の優勝は私園崎美音。栄えあるビリは前原圭一。
Everybody made a commotion, applauding cheerfully. I felt I was bested, but I was also so soundly beaten that it unexpectedly felt rather refreshing.
みーちゃんが後ろ手で細工した時またやるんだって思ってドキドキしちゃった。ケイチさんが正解に触れる直前で止まった時にはかかったって思いましたわ。見事に引っかかってくれましたです。
All of them knew from the start and still got so excited so earnestly.
楽しくなるようにみんなで盛り上げましたですよ。
So they all knew this whole time. You.
お前らみんな鬼だ。人手なし。
さてケイちゃんに罰ゲームだね。今日は部活の初日だしね。ソフトに行こうかね。
So I want to turn the music down a little bit. Just a little.
いきなり登校拒否になられちゃ困るし。
It's a little distracting from the text. The other 3 members held down my arms and shoulders firmly. Oh no, she's gonna draw on his face. Mion approached, licking her lips. Her right hand went to pull something out of her pocket. That's a felt tip marker, and it's a giant permanent one.
さて行くよ。
She took the cap off the marker and brought it slowly up to my face while I was immobilized.
いややめろ。
I let out my death throes. That's horrible. As soon as the club activities were finished, Rena flew off. Probably so she could dig out that cute Colonel Sanders that she wasn't able to take home yesterday. So today it was just Mion and me walking home together. A rather rare occurrence.
宝の山か。捨ててる連中もまさかレナに感謝されてるとは夢にも思わないだろうね。
Mountain of treasure. Meaning that damn construction site from before. Oh right, Mion would probably tell me. That murder by dismemberment that seemed to have happened here.
あそこさ、ダムの工事現場。なんかあったんだろ？昔。
そりゃあったよ、戦いが。座り込みやったりデモをやったり。
It was a bit different from what I wanted to hear, but I decided to listen just the same.
自分たちの土地がダム湖に沈むんだもんな。俺だって戦うだろうな。
役人どもは本当に一方的だった。偉そうで威張ってた。金で解決できないと悟ると、あらゆる嫌がらせをしてきたんだよ。いやらしい奴らだった。
What does she mean by that? Since they figured out they couldn't settle it with money, they did a bunch of nasty stuff. Mion spoke excitedly, as if the whole thing was happening right in front of her.
よく勝てたな。相手は国だろ？
村長や村の有力者たちがね、方々に陳情した。東京にも行ったし、いろんな政治家に根回しもした。
Wow.
そうしてるうちに計画は撤回されたんだよ。私たちの完全勝利だった。
暴力沙汰とかにはならなかったのか？傷害事件とか殺人。
なかった。
She promptly cut me off. The same as Rena had. Her words signaled the end of discussion. Tomitaki-san said one arm wasn't found in the incident. I thought that a murder by dismemberment had occurred, but I guess I was wrong. My curiosity sated, I sighed dejectedly inside.
じゃあね、また明日ね。ケイちゃんそれ、家に帰るまで消しちゃダメだからね。
わかってるよ。消さねえよ。
Mion held back her laughter while stealing glances at my face. I wonder what kind of nasty doodles they drew. Damn you, Mion. You shall rue this day. If our roles are ever reversed, I'm going all out. All over your face so you won't be able to take it off, even with a scouring pad. I want to see what she drew on our face. Upon arriving home, I ran straight into my mom, embarrassing myself yet again. The mood I'd come home to was already on edge. It's not an uncommon thing in our family. Whenever Dad can't come up with a good idea, it always ends up like this. He stomps around the house with his arms crossed. Mom whispered in my ear.
おかえりケイチ。お父さん大変そうだからそっとしてあげてね。
またアイデアに詰まったわけ？
今回は締め切りが重なったからね。お父さん充電期間がないと大変だから。
Dad's paintings feed our entire family. If he runs out of ideas, then it's the end of the Maibaras. We've never gone hungry before. Could it be that my dad is a master painter?
家の中をうろうろしないで、表に散歩でも行った方がアイデアが出るんじゃねえの？
今回は生活空間がテーマだから。
お父さんこの家をモチーフにしたいみたい。
That's quite a bothersome motif.
圭一、部屋の中を少しは片付けなさい。みっともないぞ。
ごめん。後で片付けるよ。
Oh, come on, don't use my room as the motif.
ケイチ、お夕飯までまだ時間があるから、表でも散歩してらっしゃい。
Well, she wants us to leave, I guess. Dad's moods are only temporary. As soon as he gets an idea, his mood improves, so he starts humming. Until then, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just take a walk so I don't aggravate him further.
じゃあそうするかな。
I said I was going to take a walk, but I didn't have any particular destination in mind. I just needed to kill some time. I got on my bike and pondered where to go. I could just go read at the bookstore, but it would take about an hour or so by bike to even get downtown. It would be dark by the time I got back, so I didn't want to go unless I had to. The roads at night here in Hinamazawa creep me out. If Mion or Satsuko ever found out that... I smiled wearily. Oh yeah. Renner was probably still at the Mountain of Treasure, the damn construction site. The excavation of Colonel Sanders was probably taking her a while. It wouldn't be so bad to have her It would be so bad to have her owe me one.
次の部活の時に恩返ししてもらえるかもしれないしな。
Yeah, let's go help Rena. With a little bit of self-interest in mind, I set off towards the damn construction site. Tomitake-san might be there as well. The only person with information about the incident that both Rena and Mia denied knowing anything about. If I met him again, I'd like to ask for more details. To ask, was there really a dismemberment here in Hinamazawa? That was my real intention. Wow, it's a long ways. Wow. I spotted Rina struggling up the slope of the garbage pile. It looked like the Colonel Sanders was lodged in there pretty firmly. It didn't look like Rina would be able to excavate him by herself. Realizing that Tomitake wasn't around, I began climbing down the slope unsteadily.
よーレナ、精が出ますな。
ケイチ君、
She's just here by herself in the garbage.
どうしたのこんなところへ。
A place like this, huh? I see. So she was aware of it at least.
事故発生の緊急通報を受け参上しました。負傷者はどこでありますか？
事故って
健太くん人形がゴミ山に生き埋めになっているとの通報でしたが。
なんだ、びっくりした。ケイチ君を
冗談だよ。
Rena's pretty sweet.
レナが一人で困ってるだろうなって思ってさ、手伝いに来てやったんだよ。
レナのために？
Well, I filled my quota for today. If I don't see Rena blush at least once a day, then I'm not getting my daily required nutritional intake.
冗談だよ。こっちまで恥ずかしくなるだろう。
冗談ってどこからだろう？どこからだろう？
I ignored her bewilderment.
俺、どいた。で、どこだよ、健太くんは。
あ、ごめん。ほら、この隙間から見える？
こりゃ本当に生き埋めだな。
The colonel was sideways, surrounded by boards and other construction materials, like they were caging him inside. According to Rena, it wasn't like this yesterday. It seemed as though another illegal dumper came yesterday, dump again, and now he's buried like this.
この山を一人でどけるつもりだったのか？その細い腕で。
There was no way she would be able to do that with her slender arms.
でも、ケンタくん人形可愛いんだもん。お店のケンタくんには鎖がついてるけど、これならお持ち帰りできる。はう。
If Rena gave up on this Colonel Sanders, she'll probably start devising a plan to steal one in front of the store. As Rena's guardian, I won't allow her to sully her hands with crime.
どいてろよ。俺がやる。
Rena blushed again, but this time I left it alone. The pile was enormous. Also, the more days we wasted, the more likely another illegal dumping would occur. If it got buried any deeper, there would be nothing that could be done.
ケイチくん、レナも手伝えるよ。手伝わせて。
帰って邪魔になるから下がってろって。よいしょー。
Pulling out scraps, bending them, tossing them aside. I quickly became covered in sweat and dust. Flying objects drew beautiful arcs across the twilight sky, one after another. Timber, lumber, plywood. Damn it. No matter how much I threw out, there was still more. Even though I could see Colonel Sanders right there. After grandstanding like that in front of Rena, I felt frantic because of how little I had progressed.
本気でやるなら、オノとかノコギリとかがいるかもしれねえな。も
ういいよ、ケイチくん。すごい汗だよ。そんな無理しなくてもいいよ。
レナのためにやってるだけだ。気にするな。
Rena began sputtering and turned beet red. Whoops. I meant to say I was trying my best as to keep her from becoming a criminal. Oh, so it just came out that way. Oh well. Yeah, he has to be careful.
さすがに休憩。こいつは手強いぜ。
I sprawled on my back, over the grassy slope.
ごめんね、ごめんね。すごい汗だく。
Rena patted her handkerchief against my forehead. It felt pretty nice.
あのさ、ちょっとここで休んでてね。私、家近いから、麦茶とか持ってきてあげるね。
Leaving the handkerchief on my forehead, Rena took off running. The cries of the Higurashi gently cooled the air. After I was certain that Rena was gone, I picked myself up and headed towards what I discovered earlier. There was a garbage pile of magazines and newspapers, bound up in twine. Unless I'm mistaken, I believe it was around here. There it was. They were bound stacks of not so reputable tabloids. They were stacked chronologically, going back quite a few years. It was quite a disturbing incident. They still haven't found one of the arms. If it was just as Tomitaki had said, then undoubtedly there would have been mention of the murder. These are troubled times. There's no end to these sickening incidents. There's a large part of society drawn in by these incidents as well. So it had to be recorded. Somewhere. I unfastened the packages and opened the rain-soaked pages carefully, looking over the table of contents. Not here. Next one. Not here. Next one. It was hard to search since I didn't know what happened. I didn't know who the perpetrator or the victim was either. I only knew what happened here. I looked up every so often, checking to see if Rena had come back or not. I wouldn't want her to see me gawking at a dirty magazine. But it wasn't just that. Both Rena and Mion said they didn't know. But it had happened without a doubt. As long as Tomitaki-san wasn't lying. Then if Rena and Mion... yeah, there was. If they had just said that, then I wouldn't have gotten so hung up on it. An incident that neither Rena nor Mion wished to talk about. Trying to uncover it after they tried to conceal it. Out of good intentions. That made me feel like I was acting against my friends. Hinamizawa dam worker, lynching, murder by dismemberment. Here it is. The featured article was in the back, and it seemed that there was a photograph in the colored pages at the front. The pages of the featured article were stuck together and weren't easy to open. Rena could return at any moment. Feeling rushed, I gave up and opened the photograph page. The police investigators were carrying a body bag, and newspaper reporters were all bathing it in camera flashes. The image was blurred and hard to understand, but I could definitely make out the headlines. A tragic nightmare at the Hinamazawa construction site. Lynching and murder dismemberment. The victim was a site foreman. He had assaulted his assailants daily with an explosive black backlash. Oh, let me reread that for a second. A tragic nightmare at the Hinamazawa construction site. Lynching and murder dismemberment. The victim was a foreman. He had assaulted his assailants daily with an explosive backlash from his daily actions. It's a horrible image to see the site foreman as. It happened. It really did happen. It seemed the details were on the next page. I turned the page without pausing. On it was the assailants. What? What? Wait. The assailants butchered the victim's body with hatchets and pickaxes, then used an axe to split the cadaver into 6 pieces: the head, arms, legs, and torso. I could understand just from the headline that it was just too terrible an incident. Normally, a lynching is just assault and murder, right? Dismemberment with hatchets and pickaxes? That wasn't a lynching. That was a merciless killing, to the letter, a brutal murder, done by a group of people with hatchets, with pickaxes, with a hatchet.
うわー
What?
驚いたかな？驚いたかな？
Rena dropped the hatchet she was holding onto the grass after being startled by my voice.
ケイイチくんね、さっきほら斧とかがあると便利だって言ったじゃない？それでね、レナ、物置からちゃんとナタ持ってきたんだよ。
Continuing to explain and apologize. It seemed I'd been glaring at her pretty intensely.
ごめん。ちょっとオーバーに驚きすぎたかな。
こっちこそごめんね。ごめんね。
Oh, that's okay. Night was drawing close. I was pretty worn out, and it wouldn't hurt to do the rest tomorrow.
最後の針はそのナタじゃないと壊せそうにない。せっかく持ってきてくれたんだし、明日借りるよ。な。
うん。
何しょんぼりしてるんだよ。明日には健太くんが掘り出せるんだぜ。
そうだよね。早く健太くんをお持ち帰りしたい。
We both knew that it was useless to apologize any more than that. I quenched my thirst with the barley tea Rena brought and wiped off the sweat that had gone cold now. We took the path and headed home. I felt quite guilty about the tabloid wrapped up in my jacket. New tips acquired. Let's save it. So we had 2 new tips, right? The Hinamazawa Dam Project. Special tabloid report. Let's start with this one. October 1975. In accordance with the Prime Minister's bulletin number, Hinamazawa's electrical development master plan was announced. The vast scope of the projected Hinamazawa Dam was to have an incredibly heavy impact on the village of Hinamazawa. The area to be flooded by the Hinamazawa Dam would include the 5 areas of Hinamazawa: Takasudo, Kiyosu, Matsumoto, Yagochi. The submerged area would include 291 homes, population 1,251, 1 elementary school, 1 middle school, 1 post office, 1 agricultural cooperative, 1 forestry department, lumberyard, 5 shrines, 2 temples, 1 fishery. All of these communal, cultural, and agricultural areas and places of worship were to be indefinitely submerged at the bottom of the artificial lake basin. See, I can see why they're upset, why they would be upset at that. That's insane, right? They want to basically submerge their town. Forsaking the hundreds of years our ancestors poured their blood and sweat into this fertile, resource-rich land was just too painful to bear. All the residents, having homes that were to be submerged, banded together and created the Onigafuchi Gardens. The dam project was halted, and the petitions to alter the plan were circulated. The citizens sought peace negotiations, but the government and its puppets company refused openly. So I'm getting a way clearer picture of this story than when I saw it when I was little, because back then I was reading subtitled anime, right? Like, and I was new to reading subtitled anime, so I wasn't really following the story that well. I just knew what I saw. I got the pieces I got from watching it were amazing, but I'm understanding the context by playing this visual novel better as when I'm older. So I appreciate this. Performing unspeakable heinous acts, they quashed the democratic actions of the villagers. But the villagers did not falter. Instead, they banded together even more closely and steeled their resolve to protect their homes to the death. The continuation of that frightening Hinamazawa Dam construction project is stalled as of today. The villagers understand that the stalling was caused by the sublime power through unity. And they understand that this fearsome plan has not yet been fully withdrawn. The Onikakushi Gardens had been dissolved after it did its part, but the feelings of unity it garnered have not yet been extinguished. As long as that passion resides in the hearts of the residents, they'll be able to confront whomever decides to sink their homes into a lake basin. Onikakushi Gardens Committee Chairman Kichiro Kimiyoshi. Okay, that was some good context. Let's read the other one. Let's find out what's happening around here. Nightmare befalls the Hinamazawa Dam. Okay, so this is the tabloid. Lynching and murder dismemberment. On X day of X month in XX prefecture at the Hinamazawa Dam construction worksite, the Shishibon city, a bone-chillingly gruesome murder dismemberment. Even though this case has shocked the archipelago, the police will give no details on the case. Exactly what happened at the Hinamazawa Dam. They probably didn't mean to kill him at first. But as the victim resisted by swinging around a shovel, the rest of the perpetrators armed themselves in return, and it quickly escalated into homicide. So said the aforementioned investigator A. After this bloody tragedy was over, they were left with a body which no one could have mistaken for being alive. XX-san had tormented the suspects daily with his rough behavior. At first, it was meant to be payback. All of the perpetrators were horrified by their deed, and one even turned himself in to the police. It was the de facto leader of this group, XX, who suggested hiding the body. Reluctantly at first, they soon began to think they did not wish to be caught. The construction site had numerous places to hide the body of 6 people. They were originally supposed to hide the body and leave the area. But the de facto leader feared the conscience of the other 5 wouldn't be able to bear the burden, and came up with a horrifying method to keep them from turning him into the police. He devised the heinous method of splitting up the body among them and making each of them responsible for hiding a piece. That's savage. That's wild. That is wow. XX had turned a simple manslaughter into a gruesome dismemberment and forcibly involved each perpetrator in order to create a sense of unity between them. Each one participated. But what does this mean? Person A spoke out reluctantly. XX had ordered each and every one of them to dissect a piece for themselves. They were hesitant at first, but nobody refused. In for a penny, in for a pound was what it meant. Thus, an unimaginable bloody ceremony began. The perpetrators wept and vomited as they performed the gruesome task. There was one person who stubbornly refused, but XX threatened him, saying nothing would change if someone else ended up dead. And he gave up his objections. But XX's plan collapsed in the span of one night. XXX, who had refused to dissect the corpse up until the last moment, had broken down into tears at the hospital where he was being treated for an injury sustained during the scuffle and confessed. The criminals were arrested one after the other, but the de facto leader, XX's whereabouts were still unknown. Also, the right arm hidden by XX has yet to be found. So this person still has the arm. That's what they mean by there's still one, limb missing. Despite an ongoing search, this horrible individual has so far managed to elude law enforcement. What could the police be doing? It appears that XX had said that he was going to throw the body, right arm, into the swamp. XX's car was discovered abandoned near the swamp, but there are no clues to his whereabouts. XX didn't trust his companions. One cannot deny the possibility that he had expected his companions to confess to the police and use his car as a decoy. Of course, I doubt that theory. Since he has no car, one would expect him to have a limited area in which he could have escaped to. But within the station, there were rumors going around that he had accidentally slipped and drowned in the swamp when he went to throw away the body. To the locals, the swamp is believed to be bottomless. It's known as Onigaifuchi, the demon's abyss. It's said that the bottom of the swamp is connected to the hellish world of demons. The atrocious demon from the hell that was XX. Could it be that he had returned to hell through the swamp? The Zijin Dragonbringer of luck and fortune. Prosperous future. Lady sleeping into your arms. Business success. Promotions. Ambition. I guess the article's done. Protection from harm. Not just with pachinko and horse races, but business and even love. Guaranteed or your money back. Dragon bracelet, 1 piece. 27 yen, 27,000 yen. All right, that was funny. We're gonna take a break here. It's getting really good. We're getting some details. We're getting deeper into the story. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.